We are back with episode 3 of our Satisfactory Early Access finale series. In the last episode, we placed down a bunch of foundations and we got a lot of conveyor belts going towards our main starter factory. So grab a snack, grab a drink, and smash that like button on your way in if you're excited for episode 3. And don't forget to subscribe for daily Satisfactory content. Without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So, if you remembered in the last episode, we built this. And no, I'm not talking about this little thing, I'm talking about the space elevator. And this thing is absolutely amazing. The design's kind of weird, but I like it, I suppose. We also built our hub area up here. So in today's episode, we're going to be moving our storage to a better location up here. We're then going to be expanding our factory to actually build the proper part of our factory today. And don't worry, Bean is going to be fine because we have got a massive chunk of area to work with here. So I'm very excited and we've got no time to waste, so let's get straight into it. Also, finally, everything underneath here is going to go, but I've made one slight change since the last video. As you might remember, we are producing limestone. Except now I'm producing solid biomass instead here, or solid biofuel, because we need a lot of it and it takes ages to craft. However, I'm still going to be getting rid of this today, but this will probably be the last thing we get rid of because we need it. So let's see how many resources we've been able to collect, and I'm expecting, yeah, a good amount in there. Nice. Very nice. Oh, look at that. Okay, that's extremely nice. Really good amount of rods in here. And finally, a good amount of rods in there. Okay, yeah, we can definitely get rid of this stuff. And that's what we're going to do right now. Goodbye, goodbye. I keep putting this off. But no more. It is all going. All of it. Yeah, storage is definitely getting out of control. Luckily, it's all moving today. And as you can see behind us, I've got rid of pretty much everything. I am going to keep, again, like I said, that stuff over there because we do need concrete and we do need that solid biofuel. But now, the reason why I've kept these containers is because I want to try and see how much total goods we have. Okay, that fills up our inventory here. We got a little bit of some like iron rods and iron ingots. But look at all of that good stuff right there. And hopefully, oh, look at all of that. This is going to last us throughout this entire starter project at least. So let's go collect it. Let's then move all of our storage upstairs. Let's build a separate biomass area, which we're probably going to have like an elevated area down there for it. And then we can start building our proper starter factory. I'm very excited. This is like the first proper build we've done so far. And I'm an absolute idiot. Of course I am. Because I've just realized I haven't actually got any personal storage boxes. So first, we need to unlock this and probably a few other things in here as well in this video. Well, this should be enough considering we've only got about 10 items. So let's go transfer them into our storage boxes. You can say what you want about Satisfactory. You really can. But it just looks nice. Obviously, it would be a really dumb idea to flatten out this entire area with foundations. I mean, no one's dumb enough to do that. Okay, we did a decent amount of work, but I'm actually going to leave this part of the factory clear just for now. Because what I want to focus on first is producing concrete. So we're going to go connect a few more nodes from over in this direction, link it back up to this factory, get our concrete sorted, then we'll move on to all of our iron and copper stuff. Because we still have to connect a few more nodes. Let's go do that. I actually like that idea. So we'll probably work a little bit on that. Although actually I do kind of like the way that hangs over the edge. It appears the local bean is assessing us as we place down a couple of these miners. We're not too far, oh nice, we're not too far away from our base. Just a quick walk over here. And what I've actually done is I've connected them using these foundations onto that path that we built last episode. So it's all going to go into the same place at the same time, which is efficient. Everything is powered up now and we are almost there. I might actually have to connect those iron miners to this part over here if I haven't got enough iron, but I should do. Considering, again, we're just focusing on iron plates and rotors today. Because if we get iron plates and rotors, what can we construct with that? Coal miners. What does that mean that we can do in the next episode? Get coal down, and there you go. We don't really have to worry too much about power. And just like that, we've now connected both limestone nodes. This one's going to be a normal node, and this one's going to be impure. So we've got impure, impure, normal, impure. And then 3 normal or impure iron nodes, and then a normal copper node, which is decent. But we've also got 2 more copper nodes over here that I would still like to connect, so let's go do that now. And I've just remembered, I've got so much copper ore, and we've got a ton of iron and limestone ores as well. So I might actually go back to base, build a couple of quick constructors, smelt a couple things in some smelters, and rather than wasting all the ore, I can convert it into something much more useful that we're definitely going to need. So let's very quickly do a side quest and go do that. I have so many side quests in this game, like this. I've added a wall. Why did I add a wall? Because I did. That will go around like that. This will then come round in this direction, with that being there. I'm then going to do this. This will then extend out here, and we'll get rid of this. This is what I've done, again, just very quickly. The limestone's going into this constructor, being turned into concrete. Then got iron coming into this smelter, which goes straight into the constructor, producing some iron plates. And same thing here with the copper, producing some wire. We haven't got much copper in here. That's because we have got an absolute ton of copper ore down here. So we're going to build a couple of these miners. The rest of it's going to connect to the area that I showed you guys earlier. But for right now, all of this has got to go. And yes, we have got an absolute ton of miners in my storage system. So let me cut to that now and show you how many we have. Happiness isn't a door, it's a labyrinth. You can't just open one door and think all your problems will get solved. You know? You've got to go through multiple doors, and sometimes those doors suck. But before we get to those miners, it is good to see that everything here is flowing, and that's a good amount of limestone. We can get more if we want to, but I think this will be fine for now. And there we go, the copper is all linked up. It should get up here. And like I mentioned earlier, it all attaches back to this main belt we got going on over here. When I first built this, I wasn't really planning on it being like a main belt system, but it's kind of turned into that, which is fine. But the question is, what do we do with all these belts over here? Luckily, I've got an idea. Because if I didn't, then this segue wouldn't make any sense. Okay, so we're going to take this conveyor, put it all the way over to here, probably. That should be fine. Nope. Yep. And then just do the same for the rest of them. So, we've got all of our conveyor belts out here. And like I was just saying to the stream, it's a bit weird the way that I've done this. We've got some belts going underneath here, some belts going straight across. But I think it looks kind of nice. Gives it a slightly interesting shape. And of course, if we do eventually connect the iron, it can all just very easily get sorted through here. So now what I'm going to do is extend these out a little bit. And then I'm going to add one of these conveyor lifts. So for example, we'll add one right here. We'll then change that around. Build it out there. And then just simply connect it up. And in total, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 4 of those will be limestone, 3 will be copper, and 3, eventually, will be iron. But right now, we've got a ton of iron here, so I'm not too worried about the other 3 iron. And of course, we can always get more resources later. And there we go. It doesn't look too neat, but it gives you the idea of what I'm trying to do. A bunch of resources come down into here, and inside of this orange box, we sort it all into nice, neat rows. So out here, I know that this is all going to be limestone. A gap over there will be for iron, and a gap over there will be for whatever, copper. So at least it makes it a bit easier for me, as my game almost crashes there. Wow. So what we're going to do is extremely simple, luckily, and you can follow it at home along as well, if you really want to. We're going to add a splitter here, merger here, and a merger right there. This is going to come along to there, that to here, and this to there. There we go. So right now we've got 30 coming into here, 30 into here, and 30 into there. If I connect the splitter to here, I've now got 45, so half of 30, which is 15. Congrats if you got that one at home. Going over here. And then 15 coming out there. 45 and 45. Extremely simple. It looks a bit of a mess, but we're not too worried about that. Again, this is just our logistics floor. It's always going to be a mess. But there you go. Perfectly split. Harry! Harry, I've missed your hideous face. Come here. Look at you. Oh, you are hideous. You look just like me. So let's pop up here and let's choose. I did love coming up here. Let's choose where to place down these things. In theory, we could do it here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got the room for it. And in fact, you know what? I'm just going to go straight for it. Let's try and convert this area into something that looks quite nice. I'm going to remove this. Definitely get our chainsaw and get rid of a few of those things down there as well. Then what I would like to do is grab a couple of these constructors. I haven't got enough resources. Also, I've just decided the name of this tree is going to be Theresa May, who is a very famous rapper here in the UK. Okay, so all of these constructors are placed down. Now let's grab this. In fact, let's pin this to our little task wheel. We're then going to come down here, and we're probably going to do something like this. Okay, brilliant. We've got all the limestone connected here, coming down this direction, and then going towards our constructors. That's great, and everything should be rather efficient. Somewhat, at least. Because this node right here is producing 60 limestone per minute. But we're only using 45, which means we've got 15 left over. There is one impure node that I haven't yet touched over in that direction. So if I have to, I can always get that and we can turn it into quite an efficient node. But let's see how time progresses with that one. Now we have to try and connect that node and that node together, do a quick manifold. But that should only take a couple of minutes and a couple of zoops. So let's do that now. And just like that, we have connected these two things together. And a few people might be wondering, why am I doing this? Because if you think about it, this is a 30 belt, this is a 60 belt. I'm splitting the 60 belt over to the 30 belt by half. So 30 plus 30 is 60. So all I'm doing is splitting a 60-30 into a 30-60, which might not sound like it makes sense. But eventually, this conveyor belt will get backed up, and nothing else will be able to come from it. And when that happens, the rest of this is just going to join onto here. So this does make sense. Trust me, it works. It might take like 10, 15, 20 minutes for this to properly function, but don't worry. Eventually, it will be fully efficient. And this progress is coming along. I've been live now for over 2 hours, so I hope it's coming along at least. Brilliant. Just like that, hopefully there should now be limestone, as this line eventually fills up, coming to all of these, and it should be, in theory, evenly split. So what I'm going to be doing now is powering these things, but also I would like to double check how much will I be producing. 15 times 5 is, I believe, 75 concrete per minute. And because we've only got 60 per minute conveyor belts, it means that we have to build 2 conveyor belts in total. So we'll split these 3 together and these 2 together, just like that. We've got 45 concrete coming out of these 3, and we have got 30 concrete coming out of these 2. So in total, we are producing 75 concrete per minute, which is the exact same as what we had down there originally. So this should all be running really efficiently until we get Mark II miners. Then, of course, we can double our production, which sounds awesome. Oh yes, now we are cooking with gas. If the gas was made by a toddler, because this is not very efficient. Well, it is efficient, just not much of it. But I must say, it's a good use of space. There's not much else I could have fit into here. Also, something else I would like to do today is actually upgrade our hub a little bit more. And what better place to start with than the part assembly, where we get to unlock assemblers, which we're going to need today, copper sheets, which we won't need today, rotors, modular frames, and smart plating. And of course, with the smart plating, if we get just 50 of them, as we can see now, we get to unlock tier 3 and 4 of the hub or project assembly, which is awesome, but I'm not focusing on that today. And back into the hub we go. So let's unlock the part assembly, get all these goodies just like that, and let's launch the pods. Oh, what was that? Ada, don't start pissing. I've never ever seen that. That is my first time ever seeing that animation. Leaves me wondering, is that an Easter egg? And as our pod gets launched into space, let's hop back into the hub, because I want to try and see what else we can unlock. So, we have got jump pads, which I'm not going to do because they cost 50 rotors, and I am never going to be using it at this stage of the game. But we also have some awesome stuff in the Resource Sync bonus program, where we get the awesome sync, awesome shop, color cartridges, and of course the buildable gun upgrades. And the resources are quite cheap, so you know what? Let's select that, and let's do it. We've still got to wait 3.5 minutes, but let's do it. And the pod has touched down. So, let's come straight back into the hub, and you guys know what we're going to do. We're going to unlock the Resource Sync program, slot that all in there, and boom. Just like so, we have now got our pod going up yet.
You have been given.
So I very quickly placed down an assembler because we have to try and calculate how many reinforced iron plates, as well as how many rotors we can place down, and how much we can create per minute. So I'm trying to do that now, and the best way I like to calculate things is to try and calculate 1 reinforced iron plate per minute, and also 1 rotor per minute, which is of course not a lot, but then we can take into consideration how much resource we've got, rather than like calculating 10 rotors and not having enough iron, and then all of that nonsense. So let's do a little bit of calculations, and I'll come back when we've got ourselves an answer. So after a quick bit of maths, this is what we have. We've calculated 1 reinforced iron plate per minute, and we've also calculated 1 rotor per minute, and like previously mentioned, this is obviously not going to last a while, but the reason why I calculate 1 per minute is just so I don't have too much iron or consuming too much copper than what I actually have. So if we have a quick look over here, we can see that both these recipes combined only use 16.5 iron ore per minute and 4 copper ore per minute. So I'll be quite happy to X this by about 10, or times this by 10, meaning we can produce 10 reinforced iron plates and 10 rotors. So let's see what this looks like now with those figures in mind. And here we are, just to the right of what we previously calculated, we now have this, which shows us what we're actually I am such a T-Rex, honestly. I'm such a prehistoric animal. 3, 2... And here we are, we've now calculated... I keep using the word calculated. And here we are, this is all the resources that we need. This is what we had before, and just to the right of it, this is the new one. And things become a little bit more interesting. Before we only had a few screws, but now we're using about 300 screws per minute. And when it comes to iron plates, we're now using 60, which might not sound like much, but it's a lot more than just 6. And again, with iron ingots and the copper ingots and copper sheets, it looks like a lot more. But bear in mind, 10 rotors and 10 reinforced iron plates per minute is so good. And in case you're wondering why I chose this recipe for rotors, I should probably address this. I'm making quite a lot of wire. I don't need that much wire. So instead, we'll be cutting it back a little bit. And instead, we'll be producing some copper sheets instead. And with these copper sheets, we could then produce rotors, just to try and use some copper, because there's no point making all that copper just to produce none of it. Also, how could I forget? This thing is now finished. So, if you guys didn't know, we put all of our ores and, well, ores into here and turned it into materials rather than just destroying the ores. So, let's see how much resources we've got just from, you know, not wasting resources. And with our final little zoop, we can now see, oh, you know what? Again, that is a good amount of resources. I think it starts from about here. The rest of this I've already had in my inventory. But still, all of this, look at all of those iron plates. We desperately needed some. So I would say that was a pretty good investment in just creating this small area here, which I might convert into an awesome sink area. And you know what? I think this will be a pretty decent place for our smelters. So what I want to try and do is bring in the bringing the ore from this side, then produce all of our copper ingots over here, bring it down, build a few constructors out here, and then produce the wire which then goes into cable, and of course, our copper sheets, because we're going to be needing a good amount of that today. And a quick little hop down here. I have done a little bit of conveyor belt management, and just like I did with the limestone, I brought it out of the hole there, and I'm dragging it across in this direction, and I'm bringing it to, hello Hillary, and I'm bringing it to about here. I love that flying chap, I'm so gonna ride him. Anyway, before I ride that guy, one thing I do want to place down is of course the smelters, and as long as I place it in the right area, which I think this is the only place I can place it in. Lovely, that should all line up now. Let's connect this, and I'm going to tell you where this is going to go. And just like so, we've now connected everything together up here. It does clip through here a little bit, but I have to do this in order for the conveyor belt to be nice and compact. I hope you won't mind too much. Sorry if it doesn't end up annoying you. But down here, I've done a little bit of pre-planning off camera. Don't worry, it's nothing crazy. These conveyor belts go around here. They then take a nice little trip. They then take a nice little trip around here, where they split off into 1, 2, 3, and 4 different conveyor belts. As this line's backing up good, that's actually very good. It means that this is now efficient. But yeah, we've now done that, and you'll see why in just a cheeky little sec. And nice and simply, we have done this quick design, which I'll give you guys a quick tour of. The first 4 constructors are all producing a wire. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the final 3 constructors all producing copper sheets. This is because 20 copper ingots goes into one of these. 60 goes into 3. 15 copper ingots goes into one of these constructors. And again, 60 goes into that. So we've got a 60 belt and a 60 belt. So the math is mathing, which is fantastic. Now all we have to do is pretty simply drag one of these bad boys out, place it here. We're then going to, actually, you know what, we can go back by one more. Sure, let's give ourselves a bit of room. Why not? Because we're feeling nice and generous today. We're going to place this thing down right here. This is then going to come out to about, let's see, about here probably. We're going to place down a splitter. That going in that direction. Should all line up now, which is perfect. We're then going to connect them two together. We're going to drag this out to there, which actually fits perfectly. And essentially, this is what we are going to be doing. Except we're going to be repeating this pattern right here, one more time over there. And then over here, we're going to do something slightly different. But I thought I'd give you guys a quick update. Let's now finish this area, and I'll come back with more. So, all of our constructors are now connected, which is amazing. And of course, all of our smelters are connected as well. The only thing we have to do is power on this thing, and most importantly, see if it's going to work. It might not be 100% efficient just yet, but let's give it our best shot, and hopefully we've got enough power for this. I actually do want to construct that biomass thing in just a sec, after we make sure this is all functional and working. Okay, that has gone up by quite a bit, but that's still something we can work with. It's all good as well. Okay, let's go up to the top, but we can already see this is working. This is amazing. What about this row? Okay, nothing coming down here. Oh! There it is. And of course, again, this won't be fully functional yet. If we have a quick glance down here, yes. We can see some... Oh, frick. I didn't connect this. Oh, no. That's facing the wrong... Houston, we have a problem. Okay, brilliant. We've got everything moving up and down here. We've got all of the conveyor belts connected. So everything should be good. And yes, that is awesome. You might see a few yellow lights eventually, although you don't see any right now the second that I said that. There we go. That's just because, again, the smelters aren't fully at full capability or at full production rate just yet. But this should all be working extremely efficiently when it eventually functions. We've got a bunch of wire being produced. That's all going to get stored into here. I'm completely fine with that. Eventually, we are going to get a decent amount of copper sheets as well. So, what exactly are we going to be doing now? Well, again, I do want to build that awesome sink facility down here. But first, we need to work on our biomass production. Because even though it won't be lasting forever, I still want to build a place for it. So, do I actually know where I'm building this thing? Not really, but what I do want to try and do is demolish, maybe not when I'm stood on it, because I would fall to my death. But I want to try and demolish that, and then I want to come down over here, expand this out by a decent amount, then of course push this down here a little bit, and that should link up nice and fine. Also, what we're going to do is build this out here, build that out there as well, and then we're probably going to build it somewhere in this gap over here, because again, this thing doesn't have to be massive, it just needs to function as quite a small biomass burning facility. So let's just build out a bunch of these foundations, and I'll cut back in when I've got a rough plan of what we're trying to do. See you in a couple of minutes. And just like that, this is what we've built. We're probably not going to need this much, but just in case in the future one of my core power generators fails, we could always back this up, and it should give us a good amount of backup power. We recently just unlocked Customizer, which means that we can now start to paint stuff, which is quite nice. I think it's time to introduce you to my new color scheme of this series. And it's going to look something a bit like this. I'll be going with a red and white theme for the machines, most of the machines. And for most of the walls, we'll be using a grey. I do want to incorporate some red into here as well. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to be doing that. I'll mostly be focusing just on grey, and then of course the red and white machines. So we've got quite a lot of work to do now. We've got to paint a lot of stuff. So let's do that right now. And the reason why I'm going for red for this series, for two reasons. One, it's in the thumbnails, so I might as well. And two, because I'm using grey, like grey and yellow, for my 1.0 factory. I don't want to be using the same color for both my series, because people might find that annoying. Things might be looking a bit red, but don't worry, I'll give you a tour in just a second. The final thing I would like to paint now is the main hub itself. And we could paint it in red, just like this. But I do like the way that the white looks as well. So let me know in the comments, do you want the hub to be white? So, coming over here, all the machines have been painted red and white, and of course grey as well. All the conveyor belts, the mergers, and the splitters have all been painted in white. Although you do see the white pop out a little bit more with the mergers compared to the splitters. We've also got this wall down here, which I'll very quickly paint in a grey. Most of the walls you will see today have also been painted in grey, except for a couple of these, which I painted in black, just to match the background a little bit there as well. Also, have a look at this. Look at the amount of concrete that we have been able to produce in just a short amount of time. That is not too bad at all. And then the final area that we worked on for the colouring is this area over here, where we're producing again our wires and our copper sheets. This took us about 20 minutes, but luckily that's all going to get cut out in the video. I just wanted to show you guys what I did. And downstairs, it's not looking too neat, but again, that's our logistics floor, so don't be too concerned about that. But that's what we've got going on. Now let's move on to our next project, which is the awesome sink location. And I've got an idea for that. So as usual, I got a little bit distracted, and I created this. I don't quite know how to describe this, necessarily. I don't think it looks rubbish. Especially from this angle. I don't think it looks too bad. The decorations, I've literally had to use the conveyor holes, because the walls don't fit here because of the way I've designed this. It's a weird shape, but you know what? We've got room to build it, so heck, we built it. Okay, update time. As you can see, we have started to do something over here, which we haven't done over this direction, which is use elevation, hence why I've made this massive gap to try and provide some levels. What I'm trying to do over here is I'm trying to make the factory look, again, a bit more elevated than what we have up top there. So for these 4 awesome sinks, we're going to be having all of our wire and potential other resources coming from up here down to these 4 awesome sinks and turned into tickets, essentially. So right now, I'll be converting this to look a little bit nicer. So let's do that right now. Finally, our wire has a use. What is that use, you're wondering? it's going straight into the awesome sink. So let's give it a quick follow around our world. We come over the limestone going towards our concrete facility. We then go down yet again. This is not the final floor. We're going to go down over here as I get stuck. That's really cool. This, of course, is not the final bit of decoration I'm going to add down here. There's probably going to be a bunch more conveyors and conveyors and foundations down here. We then continue to the awesome sinks, and here we are. We've still got room for 1 and 2 more conveyor belt systems over here. That's pretty cool. We'll work on this a little bit later. As of right now, it does everything that we need, which is just to collect tickets. This is going to go up very, very slowly. I might do some AFKing off camera just to try and get a bit more tickets, but I wonder how many we're going to have by the end of the episode. I'm going to guess 4. If it's going to be more, that'd be really, really cool. We have made a lot of progress today, but we haven't even started to construct our iron part of the factory. So you know what? Let's do that now. So when it comes to iron, things aren't quite as simple. We've got 3 normal nodes, which require 6 smelters, and I believe we have about 8 impure nodes, which require 8 smelters. So in total, that's 14 smelters. What I'm going to do now is, as you can see, we're in the construction phase, so things look a bit all over the place, is I want to try and build 7 smelters here, and 7 smelters on the other side. What I then want to try and do is have 4 belts coming up here and running into these smelters, and then when it produces it, we're going to have 4 belts of iron ingots coming out of here. This is just what's in the noggin. Let's try and actually put it into planning or into work. This might take a few minutes, but let's give it our best shot. So we've done quite a bit of conveyor belt work, and as you'll be able to see now, we've got a lot of things happening, which is awesome to see. Let's just follow this iron conveyor node around here, and then we'll get to this thing over here. Basically, we've got 4 for now. 4 of these conveyor lifts going up. The one on the far left, middle left, and far right all require 60 items per minute, and right now it is getting that. But this item here, which is on the middle right, only requires 30 items per minute, which is 1 impure node. So we're feeding that through here. We have had to combine a couple of these impure nodes together, but it hasn't been a bother. Let's go to the top to give you guys a better view. And as you can see, things up here are far more simple, so do not worry. Everything here should be fine, and this is only 7 out of the 14 smelters that we need. We've split it in half to make life a bit easier. I will most likely mirror this on that side. The only downside is that we have got those limestone conveyor belts directly underneath. Okay, so it's the next day now, and it's safe to say there's been a lot of changes. Firstly, look at all of this concrete. It's actually backing up right now, so let's get all of this concrete from inside of here, which we do have to come back for a bit later on. And when it comes to our 7 iron smelters, they are all up and running. But remember, we needed 14. So I've duplicated it on this side as well. And it's safe to say it's all running at 100% efficiency. It might look good, but let's just have a quick look at the conveyor belts down below, because things look a little bit chaotic. Let's just say that. So we've extended this ramp up here a little bit. The reason why we've done that is because when we turn around, yeah, we can see we've added a few more conveyor belts. Congrats if you were able to spot it. I know it's quite difficult to see what I've done. I've tried to make it so that none of the conveyor belts like go through each other, because I don't like when it does that, even though this is just a starter factory. But yeah, I think it does look kind of neat. I do like the way that some of these conveyor belts do maneuver in and out of certain positions. I think it does look quite cool. The reason why some of these are floating is because I had to put blocks up in the air, and the reason why they're elevated is because these come over here. And I don't want it to be inside of the conveyor belts, because I think that would look rather crap. So we've still got a lot of work to do. This is some of what we did off camera, because, as you can see, we've also got rid of all the constructors that we had over here that was producing all of our biomass fuel. We're building that somewhere else, which doesn't, sink into the map, because that didn't look very good. So what we're going to do is actually get rid of this pattern a little bit, and then we're going to be placing constructors all across here. We can try and minimize the amount of room that we are using for this project. despite this absolute spaghetti, we have got a bit of an iron plate deficiency. So what we've done is we've very quickly constructed this. It's 9 constructors dealing with about 255 iron ingots per minute, and it's producing a pretty decent amount of iron plates. I literally just collected this before starting recording. We've got a good, like, almost 200 plates in there just in a couple of minutes, which is really, really good. This is most likely going to be deleted by the end of the episode, but we needed iron plates, so I very quickly set it up. So you can just about see the constructors up there. These 3 constructors will be producing 120 screws per minute, which is perfect, because if we have a quick look at our maths, we can see the reinforced iron plates needs 120 and the rotors needs 180. So that split is absolutely perfect, which helps us out quite a lot. So these 3 are most likely going to merge together, and then these lots are all going to split onto probably 3 different 60 belts. That's nice and cinematic. Let's quickly add in the exit screws. Let's belt it all together, and then I'll cut back with the updates. Again, if you want to see me do this live, I am always live on Twitch. So again, feel free to drop a follow over there. But for right now, though, let's skip to the good bit.
Let's skip to the good bit.
So, this is what we've done. It's extremely simple. We've got 2 40 belts combining, but of course, that's 80. So what's going to end up happening is this 40 belt continues its merry life over here. And over here, we've got a splitter. 40 divided by 2 is 20. 20 plus 40 is 60. Brilliant, we've got a 60 belt. And over here, we've got another 40 belts, which combined with the remaining 20 from over here, and we've got 2 60 belts. I understand that a lot of people know manifolds in this game. Hello, Henry. But maybe there's some people watching that don't quite understand when I say manifold and splitting and merging. It's extremely simple, so don't be too concerned, but if you would like me to go through a step-by-step tutorial, then I will in the future. So, progress has been made on the iron plates, but speaking about iron plates, remember this small factory from earlier? Well, I hope so, because that was about 2 minutes ago. How many iron plates do you think we've produced in a few minutes? I thought it was somewhere like 6, maybe 700. Turns out it's almost 8,000 iron plates have been produced here. So it's safe to say that this has been very efficient. I can't even fit it all in my storage. That's really cool. And that is all done. I've also incorporated a bit of nature into this build as well, just because I think it looks kind of nice. We've now got all of our iron plates that we need, all of our screws, and all of our copper sheets. This is where I'm planning on building what we need. And the reason why I'm building it here, as we look over the gap that I've put here for a bit of natural sunlight, is because we're producing all of our plates there, and our screws here. It's right next to each other. So rather than zooming everything around the map, like what we did there with the iron plates, we should have quite a nice flow rate. The only issue is that we need, I think in total, 5 of these. 2 for the rotors, and 3 for the rotors, and 2 for the reinforced iron plates. I don't know yet if this is going to fit. So we've managed to fit it in here. What I've done instead is, rather than this path continuing straight, it now goes off to the left. I've also got a ramp going over here as well, just in case I do want to build anything on this elevation, since I've got something planned for the next episodes over there, just in the distance. But at least now we've got a good amount of space over here. Let's see what we're gonna add. I don't yet know, but yeah, this does fit, so let's work our magic and see what we can do. I must say, this conveyor belt management is not easy. We've been doing this now for a good, maybe like 20 minutes, and it doesn't really seem like a lot of work, but it really has been difficult. But I am absolutely loving all of the action around the factory right now. And after a good half an hour or so of fidgeting around, I think everything is done. Coming from this direction, we have got 2 60 lines of screws. We've also got our copper sheets as well. The 2 60 line of screws is coming over here to make the reinforced iron plates, where it mixes with the iron plates that we're producing literally right next to us. That is perfect placement. I didn't even realize that was going to be that close, but there you go. With the copper sheets, however, you might notice that there's nothing else going in on this side. That is because I've done it over here instead. It gives me a lot more room to play with. I'll probably add a couple more of these conveyor poles, just so it doesn't look like it's floating over every edge, and I'll definitely do a bit more painting, but I'm not too concerned about that right now, obviously. That's coming all the way around there, going all the way across the map. So for a lot of these items, we are dragging it from near and far, but it's going to be pretty good. So with the reinforced iron plates and the rotors we're producing, it comes up in this direction. I think that's the right direction. It is, yeah. To reach these storage containers, you just simply go across and you've got all your resources. Okay, so the power is on. Let's quickly rush back to where we're making our reinforced iron plates and rotors, and hopefully things won't crash. That looks promising. Okay, okay, our power grid shut down. So I suppose let's go build some more biomass burners and try and get everything working. Holy factory, this thing's massive. So I've built this small extension over here right next to where our previous biomasses or biofuel burners were. And now we're going to just place down a few more. Also, I did say that I wouldn't want to waste too much biomass doing this, but we have to get this up and running, like ASAP. I can't see any screw... Oh, here they come! Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. This won't be too efficient just yet, but eventually it will balance itself out. It is going to take, if I'm a betting man, about 20 minutes or so for all of this to be fully functional at 100% efficiency, which isn't really too bad. But from what I can see right now, at least, all the screws are flowing. There doesn't appear to be any gaps, which means that when this does work on full efficiency, there shouldn't be anything wrong with this, which is incredible. There's a small gap there, randomly, but that's fine. Oh yeah, here there's a gap as well. That's completely fine then. Okay, everything is flowing. The iron plates are moving, the screws are moving, and the copper sheets are moving, which means we should be producing some stuff. I can't really... Oh! What was that? That's something. I think that's a reinforced iron plate. And just like that, we have got 3 of our rotors being produced. Oh, wait, what have I done here? That's why it's not working, because I've destroyed this. Now, yeah, now we are cooking. Let's double check everything is working over here. Yes, it's all going in. Yes, finally. Again, it's going to take a few minutes for the screws to work. As you can see, there's currently a few gaps here and there. But, except for that, I think we're done for today. Also, we need to do one more thing today, which we cannot forget. And that is to see how many tickets we have from the awesome sink. And I'm loving this factory already. So my guess was 4, if you guys remember correctly, because Wyatt doesn't really give you that much. I'll give you a few seconds to guess how many tickets we've got. 3, 2, 1. 19? That's really good. Again, considering we're only burning or getting 708 points per minute, which is really nothing. I'm happy with that. So thank you very much for watching. Click on the left or right of your screen to see more of my content, and subscribe for episode 4 coming out in just a couple days. Have an amazing rest of your day, and remember, Godspeed.